Are you trying to establish your brand as a thought leader? Start a podcast, invite industry experts to be guests on your show, and watch your brand become the prime resource for decision makers in your industry. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to B2B Growth. I'm Logan Lyles with Sweetfish Media. Today, I'm joined by Alex Field. He is the growth manager over at LeadSift. Alex, how's it going today, man?
Good. Thanks, Logan.
Thanks for joining us in our 5 Things series. So we're talking with fellow B2B marketers about 5 things they can't live without. Some are work-related, some have been personal, some have just been off the wall and fun. I'm excited to dive into this with you today, man.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully I'm not too boring. So
all right. Well, the aim is to have a little bit of fun and give people a learning resource where they might find a tool or something that they didn't know about that might help them do better at work or just have more fun in life. So with that, tell us one of your top 5 things, man.
Cool. Number 1, and this is something that's relatively new to me. We actually just switched offices and we were talking about kind of the background here I know this is a podcast, so you may not be able to see it, but the biggest difference for me has been Airpod Pros. So I know they're fresh out. There's kind of a lot of hype around them, but having the ability for noise canceling in the office where the new space we're in is a little bit more open, it's been incredible for productivity in terms of being able to just cancel things out. This is a little embarrassing. I actually missed our morning stand-up this morning. They were trying to talk to me and they thought I was on a call or something. But the noise canceling is that good that it's been an absolute game changer for just being able to sit down and do focused work.
That's interesting to hear. I'm an Android guy, and the one Apple product I have are Airpods, but I'm on first generation. But I have not liked them for being on the plane because they didn't cancel out the noise there. So it's that much better, huh?
So I was on the fence as well, and I'm like, okay, $400 for a set of headphones. I don't know. I can go get a Sony product or something, an alternative. I was in the Apple store and they had a live demo and it completely changed my mind. So they put them in your ears and they have it on the transparency mode or the off mode. They turn on noise canceling, and Apple stores are historically busy. And this one was no different, just around Christmas time. And the noise went completely, it was like the change and the silence was incredible. I'd never seen anything like it. I'm like instantly just like put down my credit card and bought it right there. So
awesome, man. I love that story.
Yeah, it was life changing. I haven't had a chance to try them on planes, but I'm sure it would be.
Okay. We'll have to have an update there. So if you're looking for more focused, productive time, or you just want to miss a few daily stand-ups and have an excuse, AirPod Pros are for you, thus says Alex. Tell us number 2 on your list of 5 things you can't live without, man.
Cool. So another one that I have is, it's called Freeletics. So it's actually a fitness app. And previously, I come from a sports background, so I try and stay active as much as I can. And coming from playing sports, typically you have a coach that kind of tells you what to do. You're not really planning your own workouts to avoid any biases. And I think, historically bad for going back to what I like to do versus what I need to do when it comes to working out. So tried a bunch of different things, tried CrossFit, some different classes, but oftentimes they're a little restrictive. So they're only on certain times. You're relying on their schedule. So one of the things that Freeletics does is they actually go in. They say they're powered by AI. They have an AI tool that kind of builds workout programs for you, tracks everything, and lets you go in and work out on your time, similar to kind of a CrossFit class. And it manages everything for you in the app. And one of the great things about it is if I'm not able to get to the gym, you have the ability to turn it into a non-equipment workout. So if you normally lift weights, if you're not in a gym or you don't have the luxury of being close to a gym, you're traveling, whatever it may be, you can turn it and instantly you have a workout recreated for you that allows you to use the time and the space that you have at your convenience.
That's awesome, man. I don't know if it's just because we're in January as we're recording the first of these series, but Natalie Lambert in the last episode of the series was talking about her Peloton. So fitness has been a common theme, but I think, as we focus on our career growth, if we're not focused on maintaining our health, then we're going to be in some real trouble, and that's going to affect the trajectory of our career. So I like that, man. What's number 3 for you?
Yeah, so this one's probably a little bit boring for all the marketers in the crowd, but one thing, and when you describe the problem, I'm thinking, what are the things that I can't live without? And we're doing this call through Zoom, and Zoom is definitely one of those products that makes my life extremely easy kind of on a day-to-day, and makes it so whether it's jumping on a call with a colleague or jumping on a call with, whether it's a sales call or whatever it is, Zoom is by far the easiest platform that we've used here, and has made a big difference in kind of our productivity from a call standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, again, going back to the previous episode, Natalie just mentioned video conferencing just in general. And of course, Zoom came up there. It's our standard here. I could not function without Zoom and Chorus.ai, 2 tools that I use in tandem, 10 plus times a day on a typical day. So I'm with you there, man. All right, let's round it out. What's number 4? And then we'll get to number 5.
Cool. Yeah. So number 4 is more traditional, taking it offline and going with my Notepad. Someone once told me, and I can't remember who it was. It probably wasn't this person's idea, but if it's not written down, then it's not real. And so always trying to make sure that I have a notepad where I can kind of take notes and jot down thoughts that I have to make sure that they stay top of mind. And doing it in a physical paper, whether that's on calls and meetings, and trying to eliminate distractions at the same time, right? If you have your computer open, it's very easy to just be taken off to another direction. So really try and keep that offline for note taking.
Yeah, I've struggled with going back and forth between keeping my to-do lists and notes, on pen and paper versus in a to-do list app or a Trello list or, Google Keep or Evernote, and to me, it's just been always this, like, there's benefit to the tactile nature, but then I don't like how it's not searchable. Have you gone back and forth between digital and physical when it comes to note taking in your lists and stuff?
So I've tried Evernote, and I'm an Apple guy, so my notes section on my phone, I use that sometimes, but I find I just forget about it. And Evernote, it was a little bit of a cumbersome process to make sure I was always in the app or I'm going to do it. Whereas if you have a notepad, it's just more readily available, it kind of sits there. And you constantly have eyes on it, especially for to-do lists, where a Trello board, you may not see it all the time when it's next to you and you're looking, you're like, oh, I really have to do that. It's a lot easier, right?
Yeah. I can speak to that because I've started to-do lists and then been like, oh, I haven't looked at that in 3 days. So just getting in the habit of carrying some, even if it's just a simple, like old school legal pad, or, I've got, mine right here taking notes. I can't see on the podcast, but I'm with you there. And I think thinking through how that affects, again, our productivity as you're canceling out your colleagues and not attending stand-ups and being more productive there. I'm just kidding with you, man. All right, let's round it out. What is number 5 on your 5 things you can't live without, Alex?
Cool. So number 5 is Audible. So I'm a big reader. I enjoy reading physical books, but oftentimes having the time to sit down and kind of physically hold it is at a premium. So Audible allows me to kind of read whenever I want and plug that in, whether it's taking the dog for a walk or on a commute to work. So it allows me to really improve or increase the number of books I'm able to read on an ongoing basis, and helps that it's not reliant on just being in a physical space with a physical book.
I love it, man. Obviously, we're big proponents of audio content here at Sweetfish, and I'm with you. I've read quote unquote, more books walking the dog, listening to Audible in the last year or two than the physical books that are sitting on my shelf above me right now and haven't been touched in a long time. So I'm with you there. Well, Alex, I really appreciate it, man. This series is all about having a little bit of fun on the things that we can't live without, and creating a resource for listeners that endeavor to never stop learning and improve either their life at home or at work in a lot of different ways. And I think you've done that with some ideas and riffing on some things that have helped you along your journey lately. If anybody listening to this, man, would like to stay connected with you, what's the best way for them to do that, man?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is a great way to connect. Alex Field on LinkedIn. I think that's how you can find me. Hopefully there's not too many of us. And then if you do want to send me an email, alex@leadsift.com.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show again and contributing to this series. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me, Logan.
Hey there, this is James Carberry, founder of Sweetfish Media and one of the co-hosts of this show. For the last year and a half, I've been working on my very first book. In the book, I share the 3-part framework we've used as the foundation for our growth here at Sweetfish. Now, there are lots of companies that have raised a bunch of money and have grown insanely fast, and we've featured a lot of them here on the show. We've decided to bootstrap our business, which usually equates to pretty slow growth. But using the strategy outlined in the book, we're on pace to be one of Inc.'s fastest growing companies in 2020. The book is called Content-Based Networking: How to Instantly Connect with Anyone You Want to Know. If you're a fan of audiobooks like me, you can find the book on Audible, or if you like physical books, you can also find it on Amazon. Just search Content-Based Networking or James Carbary, Carbary, in Audible or Amazon, and it should pop right up.